Hello and welcome to my channel. Here I review new movies and television shows and try to release a new review every day from Monday to Friday. Today's movie is Jung-E. It's a Korean action thriller written and directed by Sang Oh-yeon. In the 22nd century, the Earth has become uninhabitable. Humans create space stations to live on and assign a colony to each station. When 3 of the stations rebel, a war breaks out. On the losing side of the war, the humans from Earth clone the mind of their greatest soldier to try and turn the tides. Despite the rather ambitious setup, the story follows a team of scientists headed by Chief Yoon So-yeon as they work on the Jung-E project. We learn a little about how the technology works, and how the future has changed into a somewhat dystopic place, while So-yeon and her team try and work out the kinks with their robot. Their robot, Jung-E, runs the same combat simulation repeatedly, and always fails in the same spot as the original Captain Yoon Jung-E did in the mission it's based on. So-yeon and her team try to figure out what's going wrong with the robot, while So-yeon privately struggles with how much the robot resembles her mother. She remembers her mother before she died and how her family made the decision to sign over her mother's body for research. She also grapples with what it means to be human and whether or not the robot recreations are the same as the memories they're created from. Stepping away from the story for a moment, the film looks like a mix between CGI and practical effects, and while they aren't blended together perfectly, it does look pretty good. The film uses a CGI to create dystopic and futuristic looking landscapes and combat sequences that are a lot of fun. The combat sequences are energetic, fluid slugfests between robots. We watch as Captain Yoon runs, jumps, and shoots her way through a horde of robots about 3 times before a grand finale that takes things up to the next level. The animation is a little bit uncanny, and the textures look a little too soft to be real, but in general it looks pretty good. The fights between robots look like there are 2 real bodies fighting, which is good. And with the imagery, they use enough animation to give a sense of the world while still keeping most of the sets real. Behind the dystopic and futuristic visuals is a scored fantasy track with a lot of generic orchestral sounds. The music matches the scenery well and amplifies the emotions of any given moment, but it also tends to feel a little overdramatic. The cast isn't very big, and most of the screen time is split between Kang Soo-yeon, Woo Yeol-han, and Kim Han-ju. Most of the other actors get a scene or 2 with less than 5 lines each. Kang Soo-yeon plays the adult So-yeon. She's the chief researcher on the AI combat program and works directly under the director, Jae Kyung. She's the daughter of the famed war hero whose brain scan they're using, and she's conflicted about the nature of the AI they're studying. Kang does a great job with the emotional breakdown after hearing her mother's words and excels at displaying subtle emotional shifts throughout the story. Kim Han-ju doesn't get as much time as the other 2 main characters, and her character spends half of its time in robot mode. But during the scene where she lives out Captain Yoon's final thoughts, the speech she gives is heartbreaking. The way she delivers the last line, like she's still looking for the good luck charm, had a huge impact. Woo Yeol-han plays the director of the program, Jae Kyung. He's obnoxious and cruel, while also being a coward in front of those with power. His character comes off as psychotic, like he could snap at any point in time. He doesn't get to give any big speeches, but does well building out the transformation of his character during the little moments. Now all of that sounds good, but does the film actually accomplish what it sets out to do? I don't think so. It needs us to connect with Captain Yoon and the robots on some level, but I don't think it explains what the robots are well enough for us to do that. The robots are made from the memories of people and will fall into all of the same pitfalls as the humans who they're made from, but a new body can be created for them at any time. They seem human at any given moment with all the emotion they show, but watching them powered down makes them feel like robots again. The story gives us lots to think about in terms of what it means to be human, but it doesn't give us a reason to connect with the individual Yoon robots. Each of them is a new person technically, and even if they all resemble and act like the original, they're still robots at the end of the day. The action loses all of its impact when your brain realizes it's 2 robots fighting in-universe, that there are essentially no stakes until the end, and even at the end of the story, it's painted itself into a corner where the only person to be concerned for is a robot. If they had spent more time making the robot into an individual, or perhaps had all the robots share a single consciousness that evolved and grew, maybe I would have cared about their fate. As it is, we met that character 5 minutes before the finale. It's hard to really invest in them. 6 out of 10.